apparent when you're looking at this is these two large structures that were not in the other female cat. Okay? And these are actually uterine horns. They're part of the uterus. They're not the fallopian tubes. Okay? So I want to make sure you realize that. As we're looking through here, let's just refresh where we are. I've removed, in this case, you can see the retroperitoneal kidney up here is still covered. On this side, I've removed the covering for the most part. And if I move the descending colon out of the way, some parts of this didn't get injected as well as I would have liked, but you can see the renal vein and the renal artery, which is much smaller in this one. Let me just get that out of the way. Here's the renal artery right there. And you can see the ureter, which is intact. Okay? And you can see it followed all the way down, and it goes right into this little bag here, which is urinary bladder. Okay, cool. Everybody got this? Okay. So, now notice it runs behind, if you will, dorsal to the uterine horns. Now, what's interesting and unique about the uterine horns, there's a couple of ligaments that hold them in place. One is this large sheet-like ligament, which is the broad ligament, and the other one is the one up the top of that, and you can see it's a strap-like ligament up here at the top, and basically that's the suspensory ligament that holds it in place. So the broad ligament keeps them from moving, laterally very much, and the suspensory ligament keeps it oriented, in the upper portion of the abdominal cavity.
And the suspensory...
Here's the suspensory ligament right here. See it? And this is the broad ligament here. And you can see the same thing is still intact on the other side. Okay? So the suspensory ligament right there, and then the broad ligament is just what it looks like here. Holds it in place. Okay? So these things, if you took them off, you'd be able to see some stuff a little bit better. But as part of this, if you're looking now for the ovaries you'd think, well, where are they? Because there's all this ligament. But actually, this little bean-like structure that you see right here, I put my probe underneath it. See that right here? It's right there. Put my probe under it. That's the ovary. The ovary on the other side, if I flip this guy over, come on, ovary. Flip over. Oops, I guess not. I don't have to. It's right here. So, there's debris in there from the preservation. So the other one is right over here. You can see right there. Now, it's in this little catcher's mitt-like affair, and which is easily seen on this side because it's nice and cleared out. And that is actually the fimbria, okay, or plural fimbriae. So those are the portions, the beginning portion of the fallopian tube. So when ovulation occurs, the fimbriae on either side will capture the ovulated egg and funnel it into the fallopian tube. Okay? The little fingerlings, yeah, right. Now in cats, it basically, there are some little finger-like structures that you can see here on the edges, right there. They become engorged and everything. But basically, this whole catcher's mitt kind of affair is part of that, and it actually almost completely covers this, so that you don't have a lot of probability, a low probability of having ectopic release. So basically, what happens is it comes in, and then it moves upwards. And if we flip this over, I haven't dissected out, I've left it intact. So here's where, can you see that where you are? My arms in here. Huh?
There's video.
Well, it's not the same.
No.
So essentially there's a little, let me just do it this way. There's a little line that you can see. It comes in here, it goes up and comes around, and you see this little white channel right there. It's a wiggly line there and goes right down here. That wiggly line is the fallopian tube. Okay, very tiny tube. So the fallopian tube is actually really small. And then basically this larger tube is not, that's not part of the fallopian tube, the oviduct. That is the uterus. Okay, because in animals that have litters, they have a litter that is designed to basically hold multiple offspring. Okay, so this is called a bicornuate uterus, basically because it's a big Y shape. Whereas in humans, there's a simplex uterus, which is like a little pear, and then you have the fallopian tube coming into that. Well, the fallopian tube comes into this as well, but it does so, up at the top of it. There's a little constriction right up here, and the fallopian tube enters there, and the egg then, by that time, is going to implant. somewhere along the uterine horn. So these are the uterine horns here.
Where is the uterus?
All of this is the uterus.
Oh.
This a uterine horn, the body of the uterus, I've reflected that out of the way. Where they come together is the body of the uterus right here.
Okay.
Very small, very short body. Okay. The difference, again, humans don't have uterine horns. Basically, all the implantation is in the body of the uterus.